of the Cattle USA Daily Podcast. Today we are bringing you guys your weekly market report with Dan Gerhold and the Logic Ag marketing team. We are talking all things today. What is going on in the market? What is going on in the world? How everything is affected right now. We talk even heifer retention numbers and potentially what we are going to be seeing throughout the summer and into the fall. Our thoughts and opinions on those things as always. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this episode with Dan.
Yeah, how's everything down there?
Nice. It's nice. It's going good. It's going good. It's warm, but I'm not going to complain because I asked for this. So I like the heat. I would rather sweat my butt off any day than freeze. So I'm not complaining. Otherwise, it's good though. We have a really busy week. I am in Dodge City tomorrow and Friday for a work thing, and then my husband's birthday's on Saturday, and then on Sunday I leave for Denver, and I'm in Denver for 5 days. So
wow, go all the time.
Go. It's a busy couple weeks, but looking forward to it. How are things with you?
Good. Got some rain last night.
We did too.
That's good.
Yes.
Not sure how much I got because the kids filled up my rain gauge yesterday with the garden hose. So how much rain did we get, Kim? Don't know, but yeah, them
not the 6
kids.
Inches the kids had filled up.
No,
so that may be a little bit.
Yeah, it was 6 inches. I'm like, I look at it and then I look around and I'm like, no way.
That's pushing it, guys. I don't know if that's quite accurate. That's funny. We used to do that to my dad too, especially because we didn't have the small rain gauges. We had the really, really big ones, 2 of those. And so we would go and fill them up with the water hose all the time. And now as an adult, I understand how infuriating that was for him. But, he rarely ever said anything about it. So, oh well.
No, kids will be kids.
Kids will be kids.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. But no, we got rain too, which was a blessing. We definitely needed it. I'm glad we didn't get the rain that Wichita got though, because that was the tornadoes and the heavy winds. I'm okay with just rain. Nice light rain. I don't need the chaos that goes along
Agreed.
with it. So
yeah.
Yes.
Tough to hear that. Hopefully nobody hurt, but yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, absolutely. Love any rain we can get this time of year. So crops are looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It rains and corn goes up. It doesn't rain and corn goes down.
We'll take the rain every time. Just keep on raining, especially through July when those heat waves come. If we could keep some moisture in the cycle, that'd be real cool.
Agreed.
Much appreciated.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of things about a lot of different things. What are you referring to in particular about the markets?
I didn't know what you wanted to talk about today. I mean, nothing happening in the markets, right?
It's nothing at all. What are your thoughts? What are hot takes? Any is that a Dr. Pepper at 7 a.m?
Oh, that is a coffee.
Okay, I was gonna judge you really a lot if that was a Coke or Dr. Pepper at 7 a.m.
I know all you Southerners only drink Dr. Pepper, but up here they offer more. Yeah.
Hostility.
No,
I don't like
prejudice.
Dr. Pepper. I don't like Dr. Pepper.
What?
I'm a Diet Coke person through and through.
Why? You can't live where you live if you
through.
don't like Dr. Pepper.
I know. Everyone likes Dr. Pepper. It's crazy. Not me, though.
23 great flavors.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Markets. What is happening in the markets? What has happened in the past week? Do you have any hot takes? Do you have any controversial opinions?
I'm tired of rumors.
We all are.
Wow. I wish, or let them drop a rumor that's bullish cattle instead of all these bearish rumors.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yesterday, I believe the rumor, I think there were multiple rumors. There was a story came out saying that we're going to have the screwworm here in a couple months. Don't disagree. It'd easily be here in a couple months. I mean, it is a pest that flies on the back of a fly, but, it might be inevitable. But that was one rumor. The other rumor was they might open the Mexican border and start letting feeders in. And then there was another rumor that the feeders were already coming in, that they're bootlegging them across the border, doing some real, what is it, Gus McCrae type stuff. Lumps of Dove, yeah. Yeah, they, lots of
Boy.
stuff going on, but inevitably it might have been a factor to get an algorithm to trade it to the downside, but when it comes to the last week and a half of trading action, it's plain and simple been losing open interest. So when we talk about that, if people aren't aware, one contract of open interest would be a buyer and a seller combined holding a position on the board. So if you're losing open interest, you're having one of them step away. If the market's going up on lower open interest, that means we're losing our sellers. But if the market's going down on lower open interest, we're losing our buyers because they have to sell out of that position. So when we see the last week and a half of trading lower and open interest dropping substantially, you know, we lost 20, 25, 30,000 contracts in the last week and a half. That's not a good look. You know, the bulls are walking away from the cattle market. They've made their money. They're nervous, scared, whatever the reason is, they're leaving. So I never like to see that. Plain and simple, that's why the market's dropping. Profit taking. As of last Tuesday, it wasn't managed money. I think it was more small specs, and actually it could be your packers too. You know, your commercials were walking away as well. So that would generally lead me to believe if a packer was long, they were probably taking profit on their longs, and I don't like to see that. So I'm unsure. You know, sale barn cash is higher this week. You've got boxes higher this week. I've got reasons to believe that cash could remain steady. I don't think it's going to be higher this week because I think there's a little bit of supply around that the Packers can choose from, and they cut their kills. I'd like to see a steady market. I think by and large, the feed yards know that their numbers are still tight and they're going to fight for that steady cash. But when you start taking $4 or $5 out of a market, the hedgers are willing to dump early at lower money just to take that basis. So it's been extremely good positive basis here the last 2 months, just from the standpoint nobody's willing to buy June futures at record high prices, and even though cash is going higher, I mean, $15-$20 positive basis is just insane. And right now, you know, it's sitting at $17 if we have 240 trade this week. So that's a fun time. You know, you're over $200 ahead to the gain on just the basis alone. So happy to see that for the hedgers. At the same time, it still makes me nervous because, once again, it doesn't mean strong things are coming to the cattle market. It's, you know, traders are nervous about these cattle prices. Like I mentioned, you know, the rumors, blah, blah. You got month end, quarter end. That's always a factor to money managers. Anybody trading this thing on the spec side, you know, they'll want to reposition up, balance up before they go into quarter end. Might take some positions off the books, and if things still look good after the 1st of July, they might put them back on. You know, we're going to see a real test of beef demand here in about a month. You know, with these insanely high beef prices, we're going to find out if the consumer really doesn't care about the price and if they're going to continue to buy it through the dog days of summer. So that'll be interesting as we go forward. Feeder cattle, I mean, they've softened a little bit in the barns. None of them really make a ton of sense yet because the deferred futures sold off in the fat cattle yesterday, so we still can't pencil break evens, you know, hedge cattle off. But inevitably, you know, the softer feeders the cash feeders you're going to bring some buyers back to the market. There's been a lot of cattle finishers tell me over the last 2 months that they're stepping away. They think feeders are too overvalued compared to where fats are. I mean, yeah, it's fun to sell 240 fats and buy a yearling back at, you know, $3, but when you can't manage any of that risk with record prices, it's scary for a lot of guys. So I still believe that our biggest risk to this feeder cattle market, would be screwworm coming in temporarily, you know, scaring some traders away. But the other one is if they do open that Mexican border, what does that look like? I mean, how many feeders are ready to cross? My gut says there's probably a few of them ready to come over.
Yeah, definitely. If they get that border opened, I think it's going to be, again, another balls to the wall scenario because, like we discussed previously, they have already said with this situation, it's probably going to be an open and closed border for a while. Like, if they are in a situation where they feel like they can open the border for a little bit, we're in the clear, we're not at risk, they're going to bring those feeders in, and then the risk is going to come back, and they're going to close the border again. So it's going to be one of those situations where, okay, everyone, like, get there, we're lining up, get them across, because we don't know how long it's going to stay open. And that's going to continue to disrupt the market in a lot of ways because it's an unsteady supply. We're getting big fluctuations in during certain times, which is great when we need it, but also getting everything planned of where's everything going and keeping everything, because you can't plan that. You can't plan 2 months in advance, hey, we're getting our feeders in from Mexico. No one can plan that right now. We have no idea when that's going to happen. And we understand them wanting to keep the border closed and keep screwworm out for as long as possible and everything that goes along with it. But good Lord, it's going to be a wild next few months along with all of that.
It is. Agreed. One of the things to go along with that, I mean, watching this board, the big question is it going to continue to go lower? Is the long-term high in? I mean, it's anybody's guess if that was the long-term high last week or not, but inevitably, with that border being shut, I'm actually calling for a little bit of heifer retention we had this spring. Mm-hmm. Traveling around, I've seen a little bit of it. I'm not saying mass amounts, but a little bit. You could make a pretty strong case we could rebound this thing coming into that third and fourth quarter. Optimistic, but once again, we're going to find out what the demand's like, on the consumer side with these higher prices, because beef is only going to get tighter here this fall. So, yeah. A lot of volatility. Lots of fun.
You know what? I think that's our word for the year. When we're talking markets, I think that's probably the word we have said the most. It's just, whether it's high, whether it's low, it's been volatile. It has been all over the place and really unpredictable. There's been a lot of things happen this year that none of us could have rubbed our crystal ball and thrown out the window. But Dan, I think we need to start some positive rumors, some bullish rumors here on the podcast every week that some reporters can pick up on or some AI platforms can pick up on that are going to start helping the cattle market. And all of our listeners that are listening to this are just going to know that, hey, that's just another bullish rumor that they're starting so that the cattle market can recover a little bit from all of this other crap that's being sent out, right? I think that's our new thing.
I would like to, Lauren, but unfortunately with my profession, it's quite illegal for me to do that.
It's quite frowned upon for me as well, but girl can dream.
No, I'm just going to continue the sentiment. Like I said, I do believe that heifer retention's going on, so because that's not a rumor. I've actually seen that take place.
That is true, and I would second that as well. I here in Kansas and a lot of producers, you have to play that line, right? Calf numbers have been really high, so a lot of people want to sell, but we also have very smart producers that are okay, we also have to play that line of keeping enough back in order to continue to grow. And I think we've been lucky in the aspect that kill cow numbers have been really good recently, because it makes it so that it's a little easier to get rid of that older cow and keep a couple heifers this year than it is that if something is tight, producers are leaning towards that older cow that maybe she sloughed her calf last year, but you wanted to give her another year or something like that, sending her to the sale barn rather than sending a group of heifers to the sale barn and just keeping those back. So I think that because the market has been so good, because we've been seeing such high sale barn numbers with everything. Gosh, I went to the sale barn with my dad on Friday last week. Bonkers. We took 2 bulls to the sale barn. One was just an old bull and one was one of our cleanup bulls. And he was a cleanup bull that we went and put out on pasture just down the road. And my dad gets a phone call at 10 o'clock at night from the sheriff. And he's like, hey, you have a cow out. And that bull went to the sale barn the next day. He said, we don't need you. If you're going to start crawling fences, you can go to the sale barn. It was insane what they brought. And then kill cows, we sat there and watched them for a while because cows sold before the bulls did. Bonkers what everything is going for right now. You just sit there and you look at that, and then you look at the you look at what's in the ring, and then you look at the numbers and you're like, these don't compute. What do you mean that cow that is the size of my pinky finger is going for $3,000?
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah.
No, it's really crazy. But I think going along with that sentiment, because of that, we are able to see heifer retention numbers go up, which is something that we have been pushing for a while, because we've seen a really big decline in our herd numbers. We're at one of our lowest lows in herd numbers that we've seen in generations. And so it's really positive to see people look at that and say, okay, we can afford to do this, because they can send a kill cow instead of having to send a group of heifers or a group of steers or something like that to the sale barn, and just approach business decisions differently from a producer standpoint, which it goes back to what are we able to do as producers? How much are we able to pull? How much are we able to push? And that's not a lot, unfortunately. Cow-calf producers, feeders, like we're not able to have a lot of push and pull in the market all the time. A lot of that is up to what are the packers doing? What are the feedlots doing? How are they pushing and pulling one another? And so I think my biggest hope is that these feedlots start pushing our packers a little bit more, because I think we have a little bit of room to start putting some pressure on them, like we kind of chatted about previously. And I'm really hoping that we're able to start doing that, to be putting a little bit, because like you said, we have high demand right now. Beef is still king. We have great high demand. So let's continue to let that be something that we see hit the producers and hit the people that are in the earlier stages of the dollar of the cattle life cycle, rather than all of it be at the end.
Yep. No, I agree completely. I mean, it's good to see. It's good for rural America, bring the livestock back. Very happy the money's trickling down to the cow-calf producer, because they've earned it. There's quite a few bad years in there that they sweated through, so I'm glad it's getting there. Hope it stays too. But yeah, because of that retention, like I said, there's quite a few out there that are arguing that retention's not happening, and I don't think it's happening like it did in 2014. But you would not see bred cows, pairs, 3-in-1s bring the prices that they're bringing today if rebuilding was not happening. So it's good that we're rebuilding. A lot of feed got put up last year. Had some good rains in most places this year. There are a few dry areas, but like I said, all good things. I want to see the herd get rebuilt. I want to see beef demand stay high. Bring money back to rural America. So be a good thing. So yeah, that's my opinion. It's not a rumor, but it is definitely bullish for fat cattle as we look into that late third quarter, early fourth quarter.
Absolutely. I wish we had our crystal ball here where we could, be the people that know exactly what's going to happen with everything in the world that's happening right now. I think just puts people a little trigger happy and a little bit more at they're not as willing to put up with a ton of risk. They're not as willing to put up with. So when these rumors come, people are much quicker to react, right? Because you don't know if they're true. You don't know if they're false. And if they are true and you wait for it to be confirmed that it's true, you're too late, because then everyone knows that it's true. So people are reacting to the markets a lot quicker, which is a give and take. It's positive and negative all at the same time. There can be advantages for everyone, but also disadvantages in the long run for a lot of things. So it's going to be super interesting to see how these summer months, like you said, the dog days of summer, play out into our fall. And as far as calving and what all of that looks like and how everything gets affected, it's always fun to see the interconnection of things, but it's also a little nerve-wracking. As far as anything else in the market right now, what else are we seeing? Any other highs, lows? I know everything else is pretty well the same as it was last week. Hasn't changed a whole lot, but is there anything else we need to point out before we close out today?
I mean, for the most part, pork cutouts going higher, finally catching up or trying to catch up to beef. December hogs have gone on one heck of a $20 rally since they're low at 66. So starting to look at hedging off some wintertime hog prices. Corn is just, like you say, hasn't really gone anywhere. It's kind of lame and boring, but inevitably, I think we're going to start trading weather here. July's a big month for the corn, depending on rainfall. Yeah, I think obviously the war is something people are talking about. And as we come into July, I think we start talking tariffs again. So, I mean, there's back to that volatility word. It's going to get Western again. So nice to see wheat finally doing something. Keep you guys in business down there.
Yes, we appreciate it. That is for sure. Wheat prices were a little concerning there for a little bit for everyone, but we're bouncing back just in time. So we'll take it. We'll take it where we can. Yeah, no, there's a lot of volatility that is going to be happening over the next few months, and unfortunately just a lot of things up in the air. And I think if we've learned anything this year from the cattle market, it's that we can't predict it. We can sit here and we can say all the things and think whatever we want, but at the end of the day, it's going to do what it's going to do. And there's a lot of things that we couldn't have seen coming a million miles away. And I didn't have them on my bingo card. I can tell you that right now. And so protect yourself. Put yourself in a position, for all of you listeners out there, where you are protected and you are covered, and make smart business decisions, because that is how we have a long-term sustainable cattle industry, is producers and everyone at every single stage of a cow's life cycle is able to make smart business decisions. And a lot of that starts with protecting yourself. And so make sure you guys check out our show notes. We have our ag link where we have our Cattle USA insurance with Logic Ag Marketing. So make sure you guys go check that out, get a hold of Dan's team, and get yourself protected. As far as LRP rates and everything are going, before we close out today, want to hit on those? How's all of that looking right now?
Premium's gone up a touch just because the volatility's increased so much, and that's a factor when they set those prices. But inevitably, they are still phenomenal prices offered out there. $300 on that feeder cattle index is something else. I know we've been above it now, but high prices cure high prices, people.
Yes,
and I don't think there's many people out there that can argue $300 yearlings are high prices. It's just that simple. So deferred fats, like I say, they're struggling, but inevitably, once again, $2 fat cattle, still a good price. I mean, we could have a $40 drop and still be happy with the fat cattle price, but like I said, premiums have gone up a touch. If we get a calm day, they'll probably quiet down and get a little cheaper again. But inevitably, for the amount of dollars you're insuring right now in this market, it's still cheaper than your truck insurance. It's still cheaper than your home insurance. It's still worth looking into. So check it out. Give us a call, because one of these days it's better to have it and not need it than to not need it and not have it.
Yes, precisely. I could not agree more with that sentiment on everything. It's one of those situations that you don't think that you need flood insurance on your house until all of a sudden Kansas decides to dump 7 inches of rain on you and your house is flooding. So one of those sentiments of rather have it and not need it than not have it and need it. So get down to those show notes, everyone. Make sure you check out those links and everything else that we have there. As always, thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Cattle USA Daily Podcast. I hope you enjoyed Dan and I's commentary on what is currently happening in the world right now as far as the markets go and just everything else. As always, like, subscribe, rate, review, and we will see you all next time on another episode. Have a good one, y'all.